number one, and I'm gonna write these and then I'm gonna erase them and then we'll start doing it. You're always gonna wanna start by looking to see if your car gets better gas mileage than theirs. That's the first place to start. Number two, warranty. You always wanna see if your car has a warranty or a better warranty than the car that they have. If they're trading in a car and it doesn't have a warranty, we're gonna use this. Okay, number three, this is called dealer benefit. That means maybe you have engines for life. Like a lot of franchise stores have engines for life, and what that means is like tires for life, engines for life, free oil changes, whatever that is. I'm going to show you how to take a dealer benefit, which is something that your dealer offers, turn it into money, and then break it into a payment. Number four, credit cards. I'm going to show you a credit card trick that, and I'm telling you, the whole purpose of like staying through each step of this through the video is to understand how to bump a customer $500, but not really about just that. How to look at no matter what position someone's in, you can learn to find the holes where the money is. Towards the end, this credit card trick, it is brutal. I mean, like it is a way for you to bump a customer very fast, close them very quickly. They will love you and you will make more money than you ever made in your life with this. And then the last one is basically just credit. I'm going to show you how to bump somebody just based off their credit. If anybody has less than perfect credit, this is always a great leverage tool to use this, okay? So I'm going to erase this, and I want you guys to just remember, these are the 4 ways right here that you can bump anybody. And as we go through them, remember this. There's closers and there's master closers, okay? The difference between a closer and a master closer is that a closer will close for the deal. He'll negotiate down, he'll take the car deal, but he doesn't close for all the money. That's a problem. That's why I was telling you that 80 to 120 grand a year is about the normal salesman cap. Okay, so I made $700,000 a year selling cars. I probably hold the record in the US just on car salesmen. And I'll tell you this, how I made it is because money isn't money to me. It's like a game. I just play it. So when I'm out closing a customer, I don't think about the money I'm making. I never think about money. I treat it like a game, and I honestly treat it like it's a video game, like it's points. And since I don't get so caught up in the money, guess what? I make a lot of money. And that's what I need you to do. Stop thinking about money as money. I know you need it, but the second the customer realizes that you need it, they're not going to give it to you. But they'll give you the money if you sound like an advisor, if you sound like an investor. You cannot sound like a car salesman through any of this. You have to kill that. I don't like car salesmen. I like businessmen. Car salesmen, all right, we sell cars for a living. Why? Because everybody has to have a car. So why wouldn't we sell cars? Why can't we be businessmen and businesswomen selling cars? Guys, that car guy, he's got to change the way he is, and the customers that he does business with will love him based on the way that he sounds different from the competition that's asleep at the wheel. So let's start. So I'm going to start with the car that we're trading in, and I'm going to talk about maybe a car that we're buying. So let's say someone has a 2012, we'll say a Hyundai Santa Fe. So everybody, please write this down. Let's say it's a 2012 Hyundai Santa Fe, and let's say it even has 60,000 miles, okay? Man, that's a nice trade-in. And let's say that guy's paying $250 a month now on a payment, okay? He's paying $250, so he comes in, he's like, hey, I'm looking for a newer car. And let's say, and you ask him, oh, okay, what kind of payment do you want to stay around? He says $300. So you say, okay, cool. And you land him on a 2018 Chevy Cruze. Now this 2018 Chevy Cruze, let's say it's got 25,000 miles. It's not brand new, but it's still under warranty and it's got lower miles. And you're thinking, man, that's a good car to put this guy on a payment. But then you go to your manager, right? And let's say you got a great manager and he's like, man, let's make some money. And you're like, great, because I came in today to make some money. He says the payment's going to be $750 a month. Okay, and that obviously is a little outrageous, but I'm going to tell you this. I want you to understand how to get the money and how not to see it as a problem to bump somebody, but to see it as, oh man, I got this. Okay, cool. Give me the pencil. And by the way, let's make all the money. Look, treating customers like $1 million and getting paid all the money is the way to go. Okay? If you give somebody an incredible deal and you sell them a car $10,000 back of what it's worth, but they don't feel like they got a great deal, even though the deal was great, they still feel like you ripped them off. So what a rip-off is not being great at closing, not being great at negotiating, and not treating people great. Okay? So, $750 a month, sign here. This is what every car salesman sounds like in the United States. Hey guys, $750, sign here, I'll get your new car cleaned up for you. There's no way I'm paying that. Okay, how close to that can you come? They say, well, I can do 300. Okay, could you maybe do 300 up to maybe 450, maybe meet me in the middle, you know what I'm saying? Maybe do 500, no more than, meet me in the middle, up to, could you do up to? Reward yourself, your wife's worth it. Guys, I hear this crap all the time. That's car salesman talk. Up to, no more than, meet me in the middle, reward yourself, your wife's worth it. Anything that even sounds like that, guys, kill it. Kill it. Get rid of it, okay? I want to just share with you, start sounding like an investor. Start sounding like somebody who's a businessman. And I'm going to tell you this, because you sound different, and probably the cars that they bought before, they had somebody say some stuff like that. When you don't say that, you enter into a different level of relationship with them. And that's where you want to be. You want to be able to serve them over all the things that they need to pay what you need them to pay and to be happy about it. And then shake their hand and then they'll take it. People go into a cell phone store on that free phone and pay $49 a month as a payment. And they leave out of the cell phone stores with the iPhone that they paid $1,000 for, paying $250 a month in a payment. You know who bumped them all that money? A cell phone salesman that's getting paid $1,800 a month. Well, man, if that cell phone salesman knew that he could make $500,000 by doing that same thing with cars, he'd lose his mind. But the problem is, in the car business, we've been taught to know that we can negotiate. So since we know that we can negotiate, we do it. But cell phone salesmen don't know that they can negotiate, and they know they can't. They've been trained to say, what it is what it is. And it's your job to make the sell and make it happen. Act that way. Treat yourself and think of your mind like a cell phone salesman. This is the money I got to get, and I'm going to get it. And if you start thinking about negotiating, guess what? You're already thinking about giving your money up. Stop giving it up. All right? So here we go. I'm going to write the payment here. $750 a month, we're going to get it, and we're just going to roll. And I'm going to start with what I do first, the first step, every single time. All right, Mr. Customer, sign here. Let me get your new car cleaned up for you. Hey, Andy, there's no way I can pay $750. Okay, how close to $750 can you come? I always ask that question. Why? Because I'm going to get this little gold nugget I'm going to tell you about. They say, I can do $300. I always write down the $300. Whatever the payment they say they can afford, I always draw a line and write it right down next to it. Okay, so you can afford $300, and then what are you currently paying on the vehicle you're trading in? They say $250. I say, awesome. So you can comfortably afford about $50 more for your new vehicle, right? They say, yeah. Listen, was there any combativeness in any of that? No. I take the piece of paper, you see this right here? This is the back side of my sheet of paper, okay? Now I want to tell you this. On your worksheets, when you're negotiating with people and you're working deals with them, when you negotiate with them, does it have room for you to write on? If it doesn't have room for you to write on, grab a blank piece of paper and bring that blank piece of paper in with you. Why? Because closers, master closers, in a seated position, everything is written. Why? Because they're changing their mind. Psychologically, everything that you write down, when somebody's watching you write it down, they retain. If you don't write it down, they'll only retain 30% of it. Now, at the end of your close, do you want them to retain 30% or 90%? write it down. In a seated position, everything is written. So grab a blank piece of paper, or if you have room on the back of your worksheet, just flip it over. And this is how I start, and this is how I'm going to start on this pencil. So, Mr. Customer, at the top, I'm going to write the 50 more. That's how much you said you could afford for your new car. Right there. That's 50. Okay? This is your old car. This is your new car. You guys see how I'm writing it? I got the 50 more he said he could pay in budget. I've got the new car over here. I've got the old car over here. Check this out. I'm going to write down the $250 payment he's paying on his old car, and I'm going to write the $750 payment his new car is going to cost. It's lined up like a Benjamin Franklin close, but you're using it as that way to run your format, and I'm going to show you how we'll do it. You always start this way. That way you know you have a system. You know where you're going next. What did I say we'll start with first? Well, one, the gold nugget. We'll get to that in a minute. But is the gas close? Cool. So, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, obviously on your old vehicle, what do you roughly spend a week in gas? Ballpark. What do you roughly spend? They say, Andy, we spend $50 a week in gas. All right, cool. Write it down. There's 4 weeks in a month, right? Cool. That roughly shows me $200 a month in gas is how much you're going to be spending on your old vehicle. Now, I'm going to bring down the payment of $250. That's going to be a month. I'm going to put bank next to that because that's the payment that you pay to the bank. And it shows me that $450 a month is how much it costs you to own your old car between gas and payment. So basically, look, you go to your job, right? And you work for money. And then you take your money and you put your money in the bank. And when your money leaves the bank, that's the real money that you're spending. So even though your car is $250 a month, right, in payment, what it costs you to own it is $450 total budget with gas and the payment. That right there was a mindset shift I just did with my customer. I took them from comparing the payment that they're paying to the payment my new car is going to cost to now the ownership payment they're paying to what the ownership payment's going to be on my new car. So check this out. So in my new vehicle, right, wouldn't you agree? Better gas mileage, less money spent? Listen to what I said. Better gas mileage, less money spent? Yeah, okay, cool. So you're spending $50 a week in gas here, so on your new car, you're only going to spend $25 a week in gas. And there's 4 weeks in a month. That roughly shows me $100 a month in gas is how much it's going to cost for your brand new vehicle. I'm going to bring down the payment of $750 of what it costs to own your brand new car, and it shows me total budget to own this new car is going to be right here. So what I'm going to do, watch this. $850 is what it's going to cost a new car to own. I'm going to take the $450 that you're currently paying on your old car. Okay? Notice how I'm writing everything? And it shows me that it looks like this vehicle is only going to cost you about $400 more. But it's not. When you came in here today, now watch. When you came in here today, you told me you could comfortably afford about $50 more for a new car, right? Remember how we wrote that down together? Well, I'm going to take that $50 more, and I'm going to take it away from the $400, and it shows me, and listen to this word, that basically it looks like this new car is only going to cost about $350 more than what you were prepared to pay. But it's actually way less. Why? Because step 2, go to the warranty. Because your old car, and let's just do this. I'm going to take this out of here, okay? When I say you put your money in the bank, and when the money leaves the bank, that's real money spent. Guys, that right there is a great way to get them to mentally switch to ownership payments, okay? And to understand that, yeah, you're right, I guess. It doesn't matter what I spend, it matters what it's really totally costing me. Because the ownership cost, that's the real money spent, okay? You know, take your blinders off for a minute. Realize there's money in other areas that you're spending. So I'll go to step 2. So now that I have room here, I'm still writing it under the old car, and here's your new car, and here's your closing in the middle, okay? So on the old, it looks like it's $350 more than what you're prepared to pay, but it's actually not. Why? Because your old car has no warranty. Even though it has low miles, that doesn't matter. It has no warranty. I mean, I'm going to ask you this. If the motor went out today and it cost $10,000, $5,000, whatever, $1,000, how much would it cost you? Whatever it costed You would have to pay for it because of the fact you don't have a warranty. So with that being said, the national average, what it costs to maintain a vehicle that's currently out of warranty, is roughly about $2,000 a year. I want to explain this to you. You guys have to do selling now and sell the timeline. So Mr. Customer, that means this is a graph over a period of a year, okay? And let's say the year starts and in February, you end up spending $1,000 on a fuel pump because it goes out and then for labor and stuff like that. You end up spending $1,000 out of your pocket because you didn't have a warranty, you had to pay for it, and now your car goes 10 months, it's perfect. You got to say this point, you got to take the heat off them now. 10 months and it's perfect. You know how that goes. It's like a brand new car again. But guess what? In November, gets cold. Oh, heater's not working. Guess what? You got to spend another $1,000 replacing a heater core, parts and labor. Okay, guess what happens? You spend that $1,000. Well, over the year, you spend $2,000 out of your pocket. And since we're talking about a monthly budget, if we divide by that by 12 months that are in a year, that's roughly, I don't know, what, $170 a month in a small maintenance payment? Well, I'm going to take away that $170 because you're paying that now because your new car, right, which is the 2018 with 25,000 miles, it has a bumper-to-bumper and a factory powertrain warranty on the engine. So over here on your newer car, right, and this, if you sell brand new cars, this could be a new car. Guess what? If the engine went out over there and it cost $5,000, $10,000, or $1,000, how much would it cost you? Nothing. It cost you nothing. It's paid for. It's beautiful. If you're driving down the road and, I don't know, man, the air conditioner goes out, it's under the bumper to bumper, how much is it going to cost you? Nothing. So the payment never changes. Since the payment's not going to change, guess what? That $170 you were paying on your old car, there we go. Now, all of a sudden, 15, 40, 30, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Now, it looks like the new car's only about $180 more than what you were currently paying and prepared to pay. You notice how those word tracks go? And now look at this. When I sit down with the customer, and I'm like knee to knee, I'm sitting down in a chair, I'm never across the table doing this, okay? I'm sitting next to them, and I'm going over this on a piece of paper and I'm closing them. I am using their number on the gas. They're the one that told me how much they spend a week. And honestly, on their vehicle, I don't know what they've spent money on, but guess what? If they haven't spent money, then guess what? Cars are machines, they break. And when they break, there's gonna be a lot of money being spent. So if they haven't spent any money, they will be spending it. And if they've been spending it, then they know what I'm talking about. But whatever it is, it's your job to sell these points. And when this is over, I'll send you a video over it so you have this, but you can go and push this through. And I could probably do this in about 6 minutes sitting down, okay? So this would be a 6-minute close. Now, step 3. What is step 3? Now I got this $180 left. Step 3 is the dealer benefit, okay? What is the dealer benefit and how do you sell it? Let me give you an example. So if you have a dealer benefit and you work for a new car franchise, and let's say they give oil changes for life. Let's just make an example. And every time you buy a new car here, you get oil changes for life. Buy a used car here, you get oil changes for life. So in the beginning, I'll say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, this is before we even have the pencil, right? You got to ask great questions early to be able to have that information for later. I could say, now with that free oil changes for life, I'm about to go let my manager know you're ready to buy the car. What do you assess the value of what that oil changes for life is worth per year? Let me ask you this. I mean, how many times do you change your oil a year? 5, 6 times, probably? You know what I'm saying? And if you could get it changed for free and on time, you wouldn't push your car past it. So if you did 5, 6 times, it costs about $100 each time. That's $600. Guess what? That's how much you're going to be getting for free with this new vehicle, with the oil change. Now that sounded beautiful, but now that I'm using my dealer assessment, I'm saying, and listen, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, remember how I talked about on your old car, you were spending about $600 a year in oil changes, right? Well, that $600 divided by 12 months in a year, guys, that's a $50 payment that you're having to budget on your old vehicle because you're changing your own oil. Where in your new car, you're going to get oil changes for life, and you're never going to have to pay for them again. So you're already paying that $50 on your old car. So now, I'm really only about $130 more than what you were paying. Did you see how I used that dealer benefit and I just took it? Okay, that's how to use a dealer benefit. Ask them how much they assess the value of it early on before you negotiate. Let them give you a number, and then you take that number and you divide it by 12 months in a year. It's pretty simple. It's a deadly close. It's great. And if you don't have a dealer benefit or you're an independent, then guess what? Don't use a dealer benefit. Just move on. Okay, credit cards. Credit cards are the next thing. Let me show you how I could close this deal and finish it out now. So I could say, so Mr. and Mrs. Customer, this vehicle is completely affordable, okay? But I want to explain something to you. I understand, as I'm looking at that last $130, and you're kind of like, man, that's $130 more. Here's what I would tell you. And watch what I'm about to say to my customer. But before I go in on the pencil, you guys know when you have a giant bump to do, okay? And what I mean by that is this. Here's my point. If I know that a customer has told me 3 times that they want to be at $300 to $350 a month, but the payment is actually, and they're paying $200 now, or I don't care what they're paying, but they say they want to be $300 to $300 a month, $350, whatever. In my head, when my manager hands me that $700 pencil, I'm like, okay, hold on. I got to ask some questions. I'm going to go close this. Do they have a small credit card on their credit? Do they have a small credit card balance on their credit? Now, this is a niche that will make you a lot of money. Let me explain what I mean. And it means this. Let's say they have 5 credit cards on their credit. So you can start by saying, hey, Mr. Manager, does my customer have a credit card on their credit? Can you tell me real quick? Can you look? Do they have a credit card? He'll say, yeah, they have a credit card. I'll say, cool. What's the lowest balance credit card that they have? What's the lowest balance? He'll say, they got an American Express credit card here that they owe $1,200 on. Okay, they owe $1,200 on an American Express credit card. What's the payment on that? He says, it's $200, $150, whatever. Say, okay, cool. So watch this. If you do your gas close, your warranty close, your dealer benefit close, and now you're stuck and you're still money away, like right here, right? Let's say he said they have an American Express credit card. They owe $1,100 on it, and their payment's $130 a month. I say, let me ask you a question. I need to bump them to $750, and we're going to make all the money on this deal. If I needed to, Mr. and Mrs. Manager, right, before I go out there on this pencil, if I had to, could I pay off that credit card for $1,100 and basically build that into the deal? And that a way that I could have that $130 to use, that they could pay that, because they're not paying that payment anymore on the credit card if we pay it off. So guess what? Now they have that $130 to spend on a vehicle. Does that make sense? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask that question. Number 1, Manu, real quick, I'm going to get this pencil. Do they have a credit card? Why are you asking that? Do they have a credit card? Yes, they do. Cool. What's the lowest balance credit card you see? I see an $1,100 balance here. Awesome. What's the payment on it? It's $130. Beautiful. I love it. Here's what I want you to do. Tell me this. If I could pay that off and I could close them at $750, would we make good money? Instead of negotiated down or anything, could we squeeze that into the deal and still make it win for all of us? And if your manager says, I don't want to do that, but I could do it if we had to, guess what? Well, it's called leveraging, okay? What happens, now watch this. I'm going to go back. Had I asked that question before I went in for the pencil, do you see me going back and forth with my management? No, I'm closing it down, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here till we shut this deal down. Do you know why? Because that's where the money's made. In your customers, you keep giving them reasons and excuses why they should pay more, why they need to pay more, just like the cell phone guy, and you're doing it on your own because you're the expert and the professional. So, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, check this out. So it looks like it's only about $130 more than what you're prepared to pay, but I'm going to tell you guys, it's not, and I'm going to make this deal with you right now, and you're going to love it. So, I noticed that you have, and watch this, I noticed you have an American, Express credit card that you have on your credit, okay? And it's about X amount balance. I'm not sure what it is, but it's X amount balance. Long story short, you're paying $130 a month on that American Express credit card. Now, I know one thing for sure. Everybody in the world hates credit card payments. Why? Because credit cards are very hard to pay off. Why? Because they have compound interest, and compound interest means that even when you mail in your money to pay on it, it just doesn't do anything. It's just going straight to the interest, okay? So everybody hates credit cards. So you have a compound interest loan. If you bought my car now, and let's say I did shake your hand, and we didn't have this extra $130, and you drove home, you still have the credit card that you're paying an interest rate on. It's a compound interest rate. And then you have your car that you bought. That's a good, simple interest rate, right? It's the way to buy. It's a good loan. What if I did this? What if I took this American Express credit card and paid it off? It's gone. I will physically write your credit card company a check or give you a check to pay it off. You're paying $130 on it. If I shook your hand right now and we did the deal without this extra $130, you'd still have the car plus the $130. You'd be paying the same money. Here's what I like to do. Pay it off, take away the compound interest loan on it. Instead of having two rates on two things, you have one rate, one low simple interest rate, and guess what? Now I take the $130 that you were paying on that, take the $130 away from this, and guess what? Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we do business right now. You trade your car in, take mine home, and I'll pay off your credit card. Does that sound fair? And I apologize if I forgot to ask you, when would you like to set your first payment due? Towards the beginning of the month, the middle of the month? What's going to work best for you and your family? And you go straight into closing them. I haven't even got to number 5 yet. And we've already closed this customer on a $500 bump. How? Because you know what your competition don't know. And when you negotiate and talk to them, I promise you this, inside your stores, nobody sees managers do this. Do you know why? Because nobody thinks outside the box for a second. Look, when people say the word, I can't afford, think about what the word afford means. Afford means they work hard for the money, they put their money in their bank, and when the money leaves the bank, that's the real money spent. That's what afford generates from. So since I listen to people, I'm like, oh, wow. Well, since I don't negotiate and I use money justification, what we did is we didn't give any money up. We gave no money up. If I was in your dealership and I was a closer and I was a manager working for you, this would be a full pencil closed deal. And your customers are grateful for you. They appreciate you. Not once did I say up to, no more than, meet me in the middle and reward yourself, or any of that. I didn't say any of that stuff. Okay? I dare you and challenge you today. I'm going to go into number 5. But if you go into your store and you were to ask any salesman that works around you, take anybody in your store, take a manager, a GM, I don't care, and say, hey, let me ask you a question. A guy's trading in a 12 Hyundai Santa Fe, 60,000 miles. He's paying $250 a month on it. He says he's not going to go a penny higher than $300 a month. Not a penny. Payment $750. Can you close that for me? Chevy Cruze for $750. That's ridiculous. No. It doesn't matter. Can you close it for me? And guess what they're going to say? They're going to sit down, they're going to maybe talk to you for a minute, and they're not going to close it. I want you to understand how far out the world is and why they're not making money. And how you need to understand that I have your back 5 million%. I have 20 different ways we can close over payments. But we got to start with 5 before we can get to 20. Let's talk about the last one. The last one would be the credit close. Let's just say we hadn't closed this deal yet, and we were sitting here with another $100 that we had to pick up. Now this is for people with less than perfect credit. Does it need to be like people with really bad credit? No. It can be people that are 640s, even a 690, okay? If they're not an 800 credit score, then they don't have perfect credit. Even though they have good credit, they don't have perfect credit. What would people pay to have perfect credit? People would always pay more to have perfect credit because people that have perfect credit don't pay high interest rates, so they have lower payments on everything else that they buy in life. It's a beautiful thing. Credit means everything to everyone. But guess what? I want you to use it as a leveraging tool to bump them in payment. So how will I do that? I'll say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, and listen, let me erase this real quick, and let's just start with a fresh screen because I want to, and we're at the end here, but you want to see this. I want to start with a fresh screen so you can actually physically see that this is how you write it down, and I do like writing it down a certain way so that it makes big impact. And like I said, everything in a seated position is written. Everything is written. If you're not writing it, dude, I'm telling you, the point isn't being made. So like I said, if I wanted you to follow me to Dallas, right? If I was in Oklahoma City and I wanted you to follow me to Dallas, and I just took off in my car 90 miles an hour, like you would not make it to where I'm making it. I would lose you. Most of the guys, they lose people when they're closing. The reason why, rehearse, practice is the master of skill. You have to do every single morning. I would challenge you guys to take this. Write the same car down. Hyundai Santa Fe, buying a Chevy Cruze. Customer's paying $250. New payment's gonna be $750. Bump them 500 bucks. Do this same one every single morning and just practice writing it down. Practice saying it to yourself. That way you develop the learned skill to overcome payments. And when you say things, it actually comes out of your mouth good. And maybe practice it 3 times every morning. And then after maybe 10 days, record yourself with your camera. And I know that most people don't like doing this, but just record yourself just between you and yourself on what it sounds like. And then also every time you're done, when you're done and you're at the end and you're closing it, I want you to look at your piece of paper and say, does this look like a map that someone could follow me to the end? And make it look like a map. Do a good job, speak clear, speak fast, stay engaged with your customer, and keep pressing forward. Believability is everything. If you're 85% in on this close, the customer will smell the 15% of uncertainty in you. They will tell you no, and they'll walk away. If you are 100% in and you believe in this, your customers will say yes, and they'll buy every time. Why? Because confidence is what they want in the person they're spending their money with. They need you to believe 100% that this is the way to do it. And if they see even just a hairline bit of concern that you feel like that this isn't how to do it, there's no way that they'll tell you yes. Never forget that. Number 5, credit close. Real simple. I say, all right, so Mr. and Mrs. Customer, obviously, you want to be at $300 a month. Your new car is costing you $400 a month. I get it. You're saying you can't go a penny over $300? That's fair. Let's just say that I could earn your business at $300 where you want to be. We shake hands on the deal at $300. You buy the car, right? You go home to your house. Okay? You're happy and your payment's $300 a month. Deal? Let's fast forward 3 months down the road. You see how I'm writing it down? 3 months down the road. You're about to leave for work, and the President of the United States comes up on the screen, on your TV, and he says, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to make a deal I've never made with anybody in the world. If you have less than perfect credit, you're not an 800 score. You mail $100 a month to the White House for 1 year. I'll guarantee to have perfect credit for the rest of your life. $100. Dude, you can't ever build credit for $100. Matter of fact, you may not be able to build credit with $10,000. If that could happen where for $100 a month, you get a perfect credit for the rest of your life, I'd raise my hand and do it. Would you do it? Would you mail $100 to the White House for 1 year to have perfect credit? $100? You'd do it, right? You see my head? Yeah, you'd do it, right? Yeah, for $100, I'd do that. Okay, awesome. So you're paying your $100 for your credit, right? Let's step back and look at it. You know in a year you're going to have way better credit, right? Everything's good. You're also driving your car. How much you paying on your car? You're paying $300 a month. If I was to look at your total budget at that time for credit and your car, you're paying $400, right? And that's worth it to you. That's never going to happen. The President of the United States is never going to come on and say for $100 a month, mail it to the White House, we'll give you perfect credit for the rest of your life. But if he would, you would definitely do it. Because why? To build your credit for $100 a month, that's a no-brainer. But just like you would pay $400 a month to have perfect credit and to buy yourself a car, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. This car is going to give you everything you want. When you buy this car, we're going to go through a nationwide lender that reports to all the bureaus. Not only, listen, I want to explain this to you. There is installment loans, which are what build credit, okay? And then there are like buy here, pay here places that aren't installment loans. And they are reporting on credit, but not building credit. With yours is going through a nationwide lender, one that reports to all 3 credit bureaus. And guess what? Your credit is all about from today forward. We don't care about how it was in the past, what happened last year, the divorce, the bankruptcy, the medical. I don't care. It's all about from today forward. Guess what? When you start making this new revolving credit happen and you make your next 12 months of payments, guess what? You're going to be paying $400 a month for the credit and for the car. And in 1 year from now, you're going to make a choice. You're either going to refinance your vehicle, okay, because of better credit. You're going to go to a credit union and refinance and get a lower payment. Or 2, you're going to come back in and you'll trade it into me. And you'll buy something that you even love more. And with even way better credit, you're going to get a lower payment. In the end, that's your decision. But today, just like you would pay for the credit and pay for the car at $400, that's exactly what I'm doing now, guys. Sign here. Let me get your new car cleaned up for you. And guess what? When I build your credit perfect, when I build it perfect, you better not be down the street shopping at the other car dealers. Cool? Is that fair? Can we make that deal now? Guys, laugh it up with them and close them up. So that right there is how to close anybody on over $500 a month in payment. 5 different ways. I know 20 different ways, but these are 5 different ways. Tattoo these on your heart, and you guys take them and go kill it, make a ton of money this weekend. I'll see you guys.